everything in my life was going to plan. But 3 months earlier, our high school rugby team, we made it to the championship game. And at the end of that championship game, I missed the game-winning kick. We lost the game. So leading up to the World Cup, this thought popped into my head. I thought, what if I miss a game-winning kick at the World Cup? What if I blow this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? And of course, these thoughts would creep into my mind in the dead of night in the form of anxiety. This anxiety caused me to have trouble sleeping. And ultimately, this lack of sleep, this constant pressure that I put on myself, this anxiety that I was feeling, it all contributed to me sliding into a depression. Now, this is something I'd never experienced before. Up to this point in my life, I've been a pretty happy-go-lucky kid. I had a high-energy group of friends. I had a supportive family. But all of a sudden, this anxiety stopped me from going to school. I drive up to my freshman year at university where I had my scholarship. I pull into the school parking lot, but I was stuck. Couldn't get out of the car. So I drove back home. Didn't go back. Dropped out of school. Lost my scholarship. This anxiety stopped me from going to rugby practice. So eventually I got a call from coach. He said, hey, you're not coming to practice. I have to drop you from my team. So my dream of going to the World Cup was done. And before I knew it, I was a shut-in in my parents' house, unable to really leave the house. And as you can imagine, my parents tried many things to help, but nothing really seemed to make an impact. But they did encourage me to go for a 15-minute walk every day, get outside the house, get some fresh air, and I'd agree. But sometimes I'd walk down our front steps, and when I heard my parents shut the door behind me, I'd go hide in the driveway for 15 minutes, come back, tell my parents that I went for a walk. So it was a pretty scary time for me, right? I didn't understand why I was feeling like this. Everything I'd worked so hard for felt like it was gone. And it wasn't until my friends came to my house and convinced me to come work with them in a new town for the summer that I slowly started to come out of these feelings. Now, there are many things that contributed to me coming out of these feelings, of which I'll speak to a little later on, but a couple things that helped right away. Number one, just moving to this new town felt like I was taking a step forward. I had to get a job to pay for rent and felt like I wasn't stuck anymore. And then I started talking about what I was going through for the first time to my friends. And I suddenly realized I wasn't the only one that had experienced some of these feelings. I wasn't alone, and that helped. And lastly, I started meeting young people that were my age that were kind of inspiring. I met kids that had started their own businesses right out of high school. Never met kids like that. I met kids that already traveled around the world, creative kids that would think of something and they do it. They create stuff out of nothing. I'd never met young people like this. And I realized these new kids that I was meeting, they gave me energy. And I started to understand that some people gave me energy and some people drew energy from me. And at that time in my life, I needed to be around people that gave me energy.